He bought a zapper.
What is that?
It's one of those things that electrocute
Oh,
you.
what is that?
It's a taser. It electrocutes
Like,
people. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Where did you get it? Here?
Same place I bought the Dreamer. I can't remember the name of the place. The Brain Machine.
What is it,
Shop.
like an import shop or something? Is this?
Not necessarily. No, I think it was. I think most.
And
of the
this
stuff
is the
they sell
Dreamer.
is here. Yeah, this is the Dreamer.
Did you
And
try it?
I've tried it. Yes.
What did you dream about?
Oh, I dreamed about German shepherds and having sex with my stepfather and eating flowers and smoking potpourri. How do you pronounce that? Potpourri?
Potpourri?
Yeah.
Right.
I like to smoke potpourri.
Like, can you choose what kind of dreams you can have with this machine?
No,
or
no.
just-
No, it's not necessarily dreams. It is a there are like 6 different functions.
Right.
They're programs, and they basically just help with stress, insomnia, relaxation, creativity, concentration, and meditation.
That's funny. Like the stress key. Does it take it to a stress situation, a condition? Is that it?
It would relieve you of stress.
Right.
And these
Ooh,
are
anyway.
these are the glasses, and they're I don't know all the technical terminology for exactly how to explain it, but they flash red lights on and off in different patterns,
So-
and they coincide with your alpha and whatever other
Right.
alpha and beta waves in your brain,
But-
and then there's a sound that goes along with that also. It's
Do you ha-
really amazing. It
Do you
really
have to
works.
keep your eyes open to?
No, you close your eyes. It's just like staring into the sun and going,
You can feel the flashes.
yeah. You can see the flashes, and
That's
after a while, you don't see red anymore. You see all these different patterns of different colors and stuff. It's really neat, and it relaxes you. Excuse me. But I can't
Sure.
demonstrate it because I have the wrong voltage. But I look like I'm in a techno band, like the Shaman or something, don't I?
Looks like some of those virtual reality machines. Did you
Yeah,
ever
that's
try one?
basically what this is. I haven't tried one though. I'm really interested in that stuff. But I can't find any places where I would be able to try one out yet.
Do you think that something like that would help you when you're in the studio, like trying to create or to do something? And that's not the purpose you're using it.
I hope so. I've only just tested it for 1 hour today, and I was pleased with the results. It really made me feel good.
Good.
It really made me feel relaxed.
That's
So it's
good.
great.
That's good. I was going to ask you about relaxing because everybody's taking good time here in Brazil, taking vacation. All the other bands are in the festival, and you are in the studio working. Why is that? Do you have?
Well, we're not necessarily working. We're just practicing, just trying to make songs because the studio was available, and we just like to jam sometimes. So we decided to do a little bit of pre-production for our next record, see what the new songs would sound like, recorded, and maybe add some parts and just make some songs. You know.
But Nirvana is not in the kind of pressure to do a new album. That's not why you're working here in Rio or.
No.
Really.
I don't think we're really under pressure. I mean, we have enough songs for the new album, but we would like to have more. We'd like to have more to choose from. Definitely. We have about maybe 13 songs. And we begin recording in the second week of February. So that's pretty soon. And we're only allowing ourselves 2 weeks to record.
Right.
To record and mix, and that's it. That's the album. And if we don't do it in time, we're not going to put out an album.
Right, but you don't have any date specifically to put this album out. I mean, or no plans on the plan.
No, except we have a date to record. We have to record starting the second week of February.
Second week of February, right. And so in Brazil here, it was very spontaneous that you were working in the studio here. And I was wondering, how was the show in São Paulo for you? And did you feel confident enough to try some more new songs on the show? You tried just one, right? In São Paulo?
I don't remember.
I guess it was just one, or at least.
I think we played a couple of new songs, and then we did some new wave songs, you know, when we
Right.
started jamming and stuff. But for the most part, we don't want to over practice the new songs. Actually, it's a good idea to play new songs, you know, to see what the vibe is like live. But I guess I don't have an explanation why we didn't play more new songs, really.
Right. But well, maybe
Normally we do, but and a while ago we got so tired of people bootlegging stuff, and we want the new album to be more or less a surprise. We don't want anyone to know what the new songs sound like, because it'd be bootleg like that, and everyone wouldn't be as surprised hearing the new songs.
Well, the press is talking about this new record that they say is going to be more heavy. I mean, can you give us any hint of that? What is heavy?
Yeah, what is heavy?
Yeah, can you define something like that?
Who said it was going to be heavier?
I mean, Rolling Stone maybe.
Fuck them. What would they know?
Yeah, and you're not going towards any specific direction or heavy direction or something.
I think we're going in more of an experimental new wave type of direction. It's kind of hard to explain. Actually, have you heard the Incesticide record?
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of band we used to be. We used to be more like Gang of Four, new wave influence, like more experimental with more noise and different effects boxes and stuff. And then we started getting too much into straight ahead garage grunge music, and that's pretty much what Bleach was like. And then Nevermind was more pop, a little bit more commercial. And now we're kind of reverting back to the first thing, which would sound more like Incesticide, just weirder stuff.
Was that intentional, this kind of evolution? I mean, you going towards commercial songs? And,
we just happened to be really into the idea at the time. It seemed like a really challenging idea at the time, because we were playing punk rock underground clubs, and we thought it would be really funny to test that out on those kind of people, to see if they would be able to swallow more of a clean pop, sound, and see if we can get away with it, because we love that kind of music. We like a lot of commercial music that's good, most of it's old, most of the old commercial stuff we like, but it was just something to do. We're pretty much bored with that phase now, because you're really limited, especially when you're a three-piece, because there's not much you can do with, three-chord guitar rock.
Not really. Well, the whole new wave concept, I mean, when it began, it was very pop. I mean, can you say that? Like, if you can name any bands, you mentioned
like the B-52s, Devo, anything.
They were pretty pop, and they were not like
Ramones.
Betraying anything.
No. I think that's one of the most grossest periods of music in history is right around the mid-'80s, when this crossover metal and punk rock thing started happening, where it wasn't cool to write songs that had melody anymore. It had to be total noise and aggression all the time, and I just got really sick of that. Is there an ashtray around here somewhere?
No. Can you get one?
Thanks.
And so this wave now is gone. I mean, this middle 80s senseless or pointless rock, right? I mean, because of grunge and all this new so-called alternative.
Thanks.
Is that it?
For us, do you mean? For anything?
For pop music in general, for rock. I mean, do you think, because I guess I have the impression that this kind of music will always exist.
I think so.
So, but
I think it always, it revolves in a circle all the time. Everything will always revert back to melody. I mean, because that's the most palatable thing to an ear.
Right. But how do you feel about, maybe there will be an answer to the sound you're making now, you and all of these bands that are on the top now, more conservative rock or more noisy rock, the rock they did in the middle 80s, will come back. Is there a chance that this happen, and how do you feel about it?
I think it's happening already. I mean, obviously, the most popular alternative bands on a national commercial scale are more, commercial. They're more clean and like Pearl Jam and stuff like that. And that's the same thing that happened with punk rock. Punk rock was really aggressive and raunchy, and those bands got signed to major labels, and it didn't do too well in the mass media. And so then all these punk rock bands turned into new wave bands, you know? So that's exactly what we are. We're a fucking new wave band.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the way things go, I mean, just yesterday I saw... Well, you tell.
Well, I hope... I don't really like to think of us as just strictly one of those kind of bands who used to be punk rock and then went to a commercial option just for you know, financial reasons or to be played on the radio. It was something that we sincerely wanted to do. We really liked the stuff that we were trying to do at the time.
And as you said, you were trying to tease your audience, your punk club audience, with
in
songs.
a small way. Yeah, it was more of a test.
Right.
It was more of a test for us, actually, to see if we had enough guts to get away with the acceptance by the people who we respect, because the people who we respect the most are the people in the underground punk rock audiences.
Right.
You know.
But now, about what Nirvana is trying to do now is the opposite. I mean, you're trying to challenge another kind of audience into something completely new for them. Isn't that
Right.
more dangerous, maybe, for the band or for you?
Not for us, because we don't give a shit at all now what anybody thinks of us. I mean, we can get away with anything.
Right.
Pretty much. I mean, that's kind of a sad thing in a way, but I would definitely like to see the people who liked our band, who liked Nevermind because it was easy to listen to. I would love to see them get into or appreciate the noisier side of our music, and then hopefully maybe they will look back into some of the old punk rock bands like Black Flag and Flipper and stuff like that, and hopefully and there will be other bands, current bands, who will be on major labels and they'll listen to that stuff too, you know.
Right.
It's not necessarily like a big crusade we're on, you know, like, you know, I mean, fuck, we're just a band, but, you know.
Especially now that everybody seems to jump in the wave or the movement that you seems to represent now. I just heard yesterday, I was telling you that Madonna is looking for a grunge band to sign. I mean, how do you... Is it possible? I mean, just because she has a label and she can come with some really original sound?
Well, people like that tend to think that they can buy anything, you know. I personally don't think that she's really sincerely into that kind of music. I wouldn't know because I don't know her as a person, so maybe she is, but to me it seems kind of superficial. It seems like a cash-in kind of thing.
Exactly.
And an attempt to be kind of hip and get a little bit more credibility. But in a way, I respect Madonna for the things that she has introduced, because she's introduced some subversive things, and it has nothing to do with sex as far as I'm concerned. I'm talking about like the introduction to the Vogue dance, which originated in the gay clubs in the mid-'80s and early 80s. And stuff like that, and she's always been supportive of things like that, which is I think is really cool.
Right.
She's just from a different world, you know, so I don't expect her to understand punk rock, because I mean, obviously she knew about punk rock. She had to. She was hanging out in New York at that time, and she chose to ignore it. So
but
that was her choice.
The big public, they would buy it anyway, just because it's a Madonna's business now, wouldn't they? I mean, do they care for superficiality, or if they just have a name attached to the record they would buy? Oh, this band might be superficial, but she's producing that. How superficial are consumers and all that? The mass.
I don't know. It's hard to say right now, because it seems like people. Well, generally, people are looking for things that are a bit more sincere and real now. I try to be optimistic enough to hope that people are looking towards things like that. You know.
Is this happening with with rock, even European rock? How much can you say about European rock, English rock maybe? Because this is very true with American rock. But, you mentioned New Wave, and a good part of New Wave came from England.
I think some absolutely amazing and very influential bands came from England and Europe, all over. But that was in the early 80s, and they weren't afraid to experiment, like, you know, bands like the Raincoats and Kleenex and stuff like that. I mean, fantastic music, but the way that I see the current British rock scene is very. I think they're more interested in an interesting character, more interesting characters in the band, like people who give better interviews than they do music, you know, and it's very fashion conscious and very trendy, and I don't really dig it at all myself. There's not very many English bands I can think of that I like. In fact, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I know there are a few. I know there are, but I just can't really think of any.
But bands, English bands from early 80s, I remember an interview with you. You said something like the 10 most important records for you, and one of them was from a band called Young Marble Giants, which is I thought I was the only person that listened to that. I was very it's a very simple record and all.
Yeah.
Can you say it's like, how close is it to your intentions in music? Because it was this record from Young Marble Giants.
I'm heavily influenced by them. It doesn't sound like it in our music, but they're the emotions they evoked, and the feeling, the sincerity and all that. It's just, and the songwriting, I think, is fantastic, and it's so original too. You know, no drums, you know, except for the little tick 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 Casio thing. Great, and I just love that stuff.
So it has to do with purity. Can I say that? Purity too, in terms of music, and that's why Nirvana is all about, purity of music, right?
I would like to think that there's some purity in this, naive, purposely naive.
Well, it had the whole attitude during the show in São Paulo. I'll talk again about it. It was naivety, I think, and how much a huge crowd of 50,000 can get this message of purity or naivety. Does it matter how big is the show for you to send this message?
Well, that's kind of a hard thing. It's kind of a hard question to answer, because it's flattering to know that we are affecting that many people, but I'm certain that a very good majority of the people had no idea what the fuck we were doing. You know, they had no idea that we were doing new wave covers and trying to have fun and trading off instruments and just trying to have a party atmosphere, because most of them only attend those kind of arena large rock shows, and they expect a very clean, professional performance from a band. So, you know, but as far as I'm concerned, I would rather play in a smaller club, because it's just more intimate and fun. I really like it. I can hear the band. I'm closer to my bandmates, and we can look at each other. I don't have to say, "Hey, Chris," 100 feet away over there, you know.
Well, and it seems like you were playing with the audience all the time. Like, you would say rock and roll, people would go, yeah, and they would. That was a very natural answer, but you're not serious about it. When we were saying things like, hey, rock and roll, and people would say, yeah, this is the kind of arena attitude, right?
Yeah, because I guess we're taking the piss out of that.
Right, but that's okay. I mean, that was the only show I ever saw from Nirvana. So that's your attitude every big show you're doing lately?
Most of the time, yeah. That's one of the only ways that we can really deal with the reality of playing in front of that many people, because we never ever intended to do that, you know. And I've never hardly ever enjoyed watching an arena rock show. I think I've only seen a few of them. I really liked Aerosmith when I saw them about 10 years ago, and that was a really big show. But that's just because I liked the band so much, and I was real familiar with the songs and everything. But I would have rather seen them in a club, you know, or a theater of a few thousand people, for sure.
Nowadays, you still go out to clubs to see small shows?
I try to, but there aren't very many bands I like right now, you know.
But don't you like trying some new sound? I mean, let's see if the boys are doing something interesting now. Do you have this feeling like, oh, let's see if I find something interesting around?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely, definitely. I mean, I'm constantly always buying records and you know, asking my friends what they like and listening to it. I mean, I buy so many records on tour that I still haven't listened to even half of them. I haven't had a chance to.
Right.
So.
And when a new band comes to you, or you know that they say that they were influenced by Nirvana, How do you take that? Because you're such a new band to influence some other people, aren't you? Or can you say that you influence other bands?
Well, I don't know. I've never heard a band that sounds like us. I can't say that I've heard a band who sounds like they rip us off or have been influenced by us. And if they have been influenced by us, I hope they've just been influenced by the sincerity we try to put off.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, and just we're finishing now. You were given an interview to a fanzine before us, okay? And how much you're still involved with this underground world? I mean, this fanzine stuff. I mean, you'd rather do a fanzine interview?
Any day of the week. Yeah, I'd rather do that.
Because the big press, does it misquote you a lot?
They don't understand, and I just don't read those kind of magazines. I read fanzines all the time, and those are the only things that I ever really read. Normally, I don't really even care what my favorite bands have to say, you know? Because I know they probably, you know, I agree with pretty much the same philosophies and ideas that they do anyhow, if we're into the same kind of music, or basically the same kind of music, so... You know, that's just that's just like the icing on the cake. That's just an extra little thing.
You yourself, do you see things that you said that are often misquoted a lot in the press?
Constantly. 98% of the time, yeah.
And how much?
But not with fanzines usually, because they understand us. But with other magazines, and there are a lot of magazines that just don't give a shit. They purposely misquote you just to have a funny story, you know, or just to fuck with you, or to, you know, just to sell their magazine, because that's the only reason they're in it. Anyways.
Okay. Well, thank you. Oh, one final question, because In Bloom Law is like #1 video on MTV here, so I want to ask you one question about it. The same laugh that it seems that you were taking with the audience at the show in São Paulo, you were taking with video watchers with In Bloom, right? Which was a totally simple video and all. I mean, how intentional was that? I mean,
well,
you don't like videos, or how come you made maybe Smells Like Teen Spirit in the same purpose? And now you said no. In Bloom, the In Bloom video is like a beginning of an answer to all that, even to MTV or to the whole video universe.
I'm not really sure, because I'm not really opposed to videos. I don't hate them. Sometimes they're fun to do. Especially that video was fun to do because it only took us 6 hours. Normally a video will take a whole day, just like over and over and over. We only had to listen to the song like 4 times. And it was great. It was really great to be able to do that, and it was totally spontaneous. Courtney had brought some dresses with her. She was taking them to a friend's house, or she had borrowed some dresses from a friend of hers, and so I thought, hey, let's put some dresses on and, you know, dance around in those. And that was just, you know, everything was just pretty much spontaneous. The basic idea was just to, you know, do a video that looked like it came from the early '60s or the late '50s.
Well, what about the other version that you were more with suits and all like that? It was done in the same day.
Yeah.
You just changed your clothing.
Yeah, we just changed our clothing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, and you mentioned that Courtney came with those dresses, and she's recording right here. I mean, do you by any chance interfere with what she's doing, in her work, or how much does one interferes with other works?
Yeah, we get in each other's way every once in a while.
Yeah, but I mean more intentional.
We just like to be together all the time. You know, we're best friends. She's my best friend, and so when she's playing music, I like to listen to it and maybe suggest some things, and she does the same thing with me too. And this was just an opportunity for her to. She came with us, and Patty, her drummer, came too. It's just a vacation, and so this was just a spontaneous thing for them to just make a few demos and see what they're going to do with it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, it's rolling. Arnaldo Baptista, is that how you pronounce his name?
That's it. where did you hear from them? I mean, who told you try to look for this band?
My friend Bill Bartell, who is he has a record label called Gasatanka Records, and he was in White Flag, and he's friends with Red Cross. He's a very nice guy. He has a mustache, and he's a really nice guy. And he sent me a tape of the first 2 records a few weeks ago, about a month ago, and I really liked it. And he said, if you go to Brazil, you have to say to everybody that this is a great band. And I agree with him. I think this is a very influential and cool band for the time.
How did it sound to you? I mean, does it have a Brazilian kind of sound on the background?
Yeah, there's a lot of Latin rhythms in there in some of this music. Yeah.
Because they came with this idea that let's mix Brazilian rhythm and rock, and this was in the late '60s.
Right.
Can you say something typical from Brazil there?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. There's some. I can hear the rhythm and the influence in the music a lot. I respect them so much. I'm not familiar with them very much because I've just started getting into them, but I think from what I've read about them, they were very revolutionary. I mean, they made their own effects boxes, you know. They made their own fuzz boxes, and they were also really controversial too, which was they had a lot of guts to be doing stuff like that in the military society that was going on then, and I just think that is so cool.
That was totally counterculture.
Yeah, very.
People wouldn't believe what they did.
Yeah.
Oh, it's very cool to like that. And I hope you enjoyed the CDs too.
Yeah, I will.
And thank you again.
All right. Bye.